Let me tell you a story about two guys named Scott Seamans and George Boedecker Jr. who found themselves down on their luck. These two were probably feeling lower than a snake's belly button when they stumbled upon a Canadian company making clogs with cutouts.
Hey, Art! We need to talk!
Sounds pretty boring, right? Well, you won't believe what happened next. These two dudes must have been wearing their lucky underwear that day because they had a stroke of genius. They decided to take these unsellable clogs and jazz them up with some funky designs. And just like that, the Crocs shoe was born. I know, you're probably thinking Crocs? Those shoes that look like they were made for garden gnomes? Yes, those shoes. Can you believe it? It just goes to show you that sometimes the best ideas come from the most unexpected places, and who knows, maybe one day you'll stumble upon a company making ugly shoes that nobody wants and turn them into the next big thing. Or, just wear them while you garden. Either way, Scott and George's story reminds us that when life gives you lemons, you make Crocs. Scott Seamans and George Boedecker Jr. may have struck gold with the cutout clogs, but it wasn't love at first sight. In fact, the first time they saw the clogs, they were so put off by their appearance that they almost turned around and walked away. But then their friend, who had brought them to the Canadian clog company, convinced them to try on a pair. Reluctantly, Seamans and Boedecker slipped their feet into the clogs and immediately regretted it. They felt like they were wearing blocks of wood on their feet, and the cutouts made them look like they had been attacked by a pair of hungry beavers. But then something strange happened. As they started walking around the room, they realized that the clogs were surprisingly comfortable and made a satisfying clack sound with each step. Before they knew it, Seamans and Boedecker had completely changed their minds about the clogs. They were no longer ugly monstrosities, but the perfect combination of style and function. They were so convinced of the clogs' potential that they decided to buy the entire stock of unsold cutout clogs and take them back to the United States. And the rest, as they say, is history. Well, it looks like Seamans and Boedecker finally saw the light and realized that the cutout clogs were the way to go. I can just imagine their conversation. Hey, you know what? These shoes are pretty comfy, and I can wear them with socks without looking like a total dweeb. And their friend, who was probably skeptical at first, finally caved in and said, all right, let's start a company, but can we at least make them a little less ugly? I mean, who would have thought that a shoe that looks like a cheese grater could become such a hit? I guess it's true what they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or in this case, the foot of the wearer. But let's give the success of the beach model was a game changer for Seamans, Boedecker, and their friend. They realized they had stumbled upon a gold mine, and they wasted no time in expanding their product line. From bright colors to funky designs, they experimented with all kinds of variations, and each one was a hit with customers. Before they knew it, Crocs had become a global phenomenon, and the founders were laughing all the way to the bank. Who knew that a pair of foam clogs could change lives? Oh dear, it's time to go public. In February 2006, Crocs completed their initial public offering, IPO, of common stock. You know what that means? It means the company was officially listed on the stock market, and people could finally buy and sell shares of the company.
Release signs down! Get the fuck down! What the fuck?
Talk about a big moment for Crocs. They must have been feeling like a superstar athlete who just got drafted to the pros. Of course, going public is no easy feat. It involves a lot of paperwork, legalities, and hoop jumping. But Crocs managed to pull it off like a boss, and the market loved it. The company's shares were in high demand, and the IPO was considered a huge success. It's no surprise. After all, who wouldn't want to invest in a company that makes comfy, stylish clogs that are loved by millions of people around the world? With the IPO, Crocs had officially become a public company, and they were now subject to a whole new level of scrutiny and attention. But we have no doubt that Seamans, Boedecker, and the rest of the Crocs team were up to the challenge. After all, They had already proven that they could turn a bunch of ugly shoes into a worldwide sensation. Going public was just the next step in their journey to clog domination. Oh yay! Things weren't looking so hot for our beloved Crocs. In April 2008, during the financial crisis, the stock took a major dip, dropping a whopping 30%. That's like going from feeling like $1 million to feeling like a dollar store flip-flop in a matter of minutes. And to make matters worse, the company had to lay off 600 factory employees. That's a lot of people who suddenly found themselves in the same boat as those Crocs clogs that nobody wanted to wear. But you know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And that's exactly what Crocs did. They persevered through the tough times, and just like those resilient little clogs, they bounced back stronger than ever. It's like they were saying, you can try to knock us down, but we'll just bounce right back up with even more colors and designs to choose from. And hey, we all have our ups and downs, but it's how we handle them that really counts. So kudos to Crocs for keeping their heads up and pushing through the tough times. Dear Lord, the plot thickens. In December, hedge fund SAC Capital Advisors discloses a 5% stake in Crocs. Now, if you're anything like me, your eyes probably glazed over at the mention of hedge fund and stake. But fear not, I'll break it down for you in a way that even a Crocs-wearing toddler could understand. Basically, a hedge fund is a group of really smart people with a lot of money who like to invest in stuff to make even more money. And when they say they have a stake in a company, it means they own a piece of it. So SAC Capital Advisors had bought enough of Crocs to own 5% of the company. That's a lot of clogs, my friend. But what does this mean for Crocs? Well, when a big shot like SAC Capital Advisors buys a chunk of a company, it usually means they think that company is going to do well in the future. So this news could be a sign that things are looking up for the little clog that could, or, maybe SAC just really likes the way Crocs feel on their feet. Who knows? So there you have it, folks, the story of Crocs. From humble beginnings as an ugly, holy clog to a successful, wealthy company that dominates the shoe market, it just goes to show that sometimes the ugliest things can be the most profitable. Love them or hate them, Crocs are here to stay. And with all the money Scott Seamans, George Boedecker Jr., and their partners have made from this seemingly ridiculous idea, they could probably afford to buy every single person on the planet a pair of Crocs. So if you're ever feeling down on your luck, just remember that all it takes is one ugly shoe and a little bit of perseverance to become a millionaire. And who knows, maybe the next big thing will be even uglier than Crocs. Keep dreaming big, my friends.